said they need your money. To your point, small business owner, why in a piece of healthcare legislation did they put that 1099 thing in there, which will penalize small business owners for just any paperwork they're going to have to fill out for just purchasing $600 worth of materials? Why did they put that in a piece of healthcare legislation? Because they needed, it's purely a revenue source.
Well, I just talked with a friend of mine on Saturday he owns a martial arts school and a martial arts supply company. He said that within the next month he has to lay off 3 of his employees because the regulation is so onerous. He says that of martial arts schools in the country, since the economy took a downturn, 70% of those martial arts schools have gone out of business. He said within the next year, half of those remaining will go out of business. That's 85% of those schools will be gone. He said, and he told me that those schools are good for the community because they give kids, kids a good self-esteem. They help them become physically fit. They teach them discipline and things of that nature. And he said, because the government is so involved in what he's doing, he's got to constantly be sidestepping and just trying to keep his business. And he works full-time too. He's in California right now. He works for a defense contractor. He's out helping to protect our troops. And he's working with them right now. Then when he comes home, then he's got to try and shuffle and figure out what the heck's going on, what all this crazy regulation the government's passed.
Well, and you said it, and Nick said it. The biggest thing holding back job creation in this country is uncertainty. If you're a small businessman or woman, why would you walk out that door? You don't know tomorrow what it's going to cost you when you walk out the door. You don't know a month from now. You don't know a year from now. Until we give some sort of certain climate to these folks, they're holding back. And you can't blame them. Again, they don't know what Obamacare is going to cost them. They know the people that pass the bill don't know what it's going to cost them. They know right now there are 500 to 600 bureaucrats in Washington in rented office space coming up with page after page of regulation that's going to impact the cost that our elected officials don't even know about. Yes, sir.
First, a comment. By education, I'm an economist. And from an economist perspective, the corporate income tax is a subsidy to unprofitable corporations. It would be better if it were completely abolished. What I really want to say, my focus in my life the last 15 years has been transportation. I want to thank you for everything you said on transportation. And if you get on the transportation committee, it'll do this county great good. Small business too. Don Manzullo's done wonderful things for this county by being on the small business committee. But this county has, since World War II, built 4.5 miles of new arterial road, Rayhill Road. That's it. DuPage County has built 400 miles of arterial road in the same period of time.
Maybe we can get them to give us a high-speed rail line.
No, they moved that to Belvedere.
Yeah, they moved that to Belvedere. The state government gives all of its money to Chicago. And it's, so we need help here in McHenry County for our roads. What we really have, our road system in this county was designed between 1915 and 1919 and built in the 20s for a county of 30,000 farmers, most of whom have horse carts. We've widened roads, we've improved intersections, but the network is designed for 30,000 farmers, not 320,000 people.
5 years ago, it came out real quick that Henry County was the second most populous county in all of the 50 United States without access to a freeway.
Right. Oh, no, we're number one. We're number
well,
one.
This is what I heard 5 years ago. That we were the second most populous.
We're 4 times bigger.
We're now number one.
The next biggest.
Now I gotta get nothing on it. Put it in my chart. But that's ludicrous.
Yeah.
Ludicrous.
Yeah, we have the 5th one.
Just the status on your thoughts about 53, maybe Pam can help us.
Pam and Nick can chime in on this. I grew up in this district. I was born and raised in Barrington. I can remember being in high school and hearing community leaders and elected officials talk about extending Route 53. I'm only 24 years old, so that was Usually that brings a real, I'm a lot older, this was 30 years ago. So this issue, Pam, has been talked about for a long time, Nick and Pam. How come we don't have a Route 53 extension yet? We need, they passed a non-binding referendum last year in Lake County. It passed 85-15.
But what are the odds of it? Or what's the probability of it? Or what?
I got my own thoughts. Pam, do you have any thoughts on it?
I got a lot of thoughts. I mean, basically, if you'll notice, Wisconsin, it was an agreement between Wisconsin and Illinois. Wisconsin built their portion, which is why as soon as you hit the border, you know, you have wonderful developments. Most of it was because there were communities that absolutely said, no, you will not put that road through, you know, not in my backyard. We've learned this in McHenry County over the past few years, but typically state government, if they know that there's not agreement, they walk away from projects because they just don't want to take a position and irritate a section of the community and alienate the two. So they walked away from that and put the money in other areas. Why do you think McHenry has a wonderful bridge on Miller Road? It's because Algonquin was supposed to get that bridge, and the community could not decide where they wanted the bridge, and they were arguing. So the state of Illinois said, you know what, we've got other projects, we'll give it to McHenry. Now, they should have given us 4 lanes there, but they only gave us 2. But that's really it, is when there's not an agreement, when you can't come up with a majority perspective, monies will go elsewhere where there is majority.
And the only thing I'd add to that, and again, I'm not a huge federal government coming down and imposing on things, but I think because this is something most of my whole district wants and needs, I think a congressman or woman could provide real leadership in bringing people together to get it done. You had a point.
About 12, 14 years ago, the Lake County Contracting Association did a study. What they came up with to build 53 extension from where it ended to get up in the Lake County, hit 120 or 60 or up in that area here, they put this on exactly where to go. It would take, 12 years ago money, would take $1 billion and they could do it in 7 years. But since they couldn't get that done, the alternative was to take and build every intersection, open up every intersection, add several lanes to 120, to 60, to 45, to 83, and what have you. It was going to take, to alleviate the same transportation, the same amount of cars, it was going to take $8 billion, 25 years. That was 12 years ago. We're halfway through that system already. If you see what's going on, we're getting little dabs here, what have you know what? Same amount of cars, you make it through an intersection. Once you get to an intersection, guess what you do? You stop again. And that goes to the point I'm going to try to say, Joe, we need jobs. And you can't get jobs to McHenry County because one thing, the other gentleman said, our roads are designed back in the 50s. Well, we need transportation. Transportation will do this job.
And it'll help that he lives in McHenry County and he has to drive on those roads.
That answers what Henry said.
Yeah, I agree. Question over here.
I'm just a simple guy, unemployed, blue-collar worker, and they're here to talk about minor business, big business. I'm struggling to get a job because I can't compete with multiple families living in a single household, being undocumented, or like illegal people. And you have these big businesses and these small businesses. What they're going to be doing is hiring undocumented workers, cutting me out of a job, and they say, well, it's a job that the Americans don't pursue. But we don't want to be electricians, plumbers, carpenters. We don't want those jobs. I mean, yes, you guys have these big businesses, and I applaud you. That's great. But hire legal people, please. I mean, we need the jobs.
We need a hell of a lot more self-professed, simple guys working in Washington. This is a classic issue that complicated Washington is afraid to deal with. Most politicians are afraid to talk about it. You shouldn't be. We shouldn't be. And we should always start any discussion on illegal immigration with the following words. America is the most compassionate country in the world. America is the most compassionate country in the world. So there's nothing mean-spirited for your congressman to say, Damn it, secure the borders. Yes, sir.